Hi, here I am. And the lights are too bright. I can't preview the YouTube camera before it. Is that better or worse? It's hard to say. But yes, we're doing it. We're going to talk Promising Young Woman. We're going to talk about some rough stuff, but we're going to talk about some genius stuff as well. And there's no structure for today's video. I know, unlike all my other videos, which were, intensely well organized. So we need to talk about Cassie, or Nina Forever 2, Even More Nina, Even More Forever. Hi, Jessie. So I hope you guys have seen Promising Young Woman, because if not, I really don't want to spoil anything for you. And it is a movie that rewards going in unspoiled. Really. If you've seen the trailer and you want to see the movie portrayed in the trailer, like the movie the trailer wants you to think is the movie, then I would suggest you watch American Mary instead, with Katharine Isabelle, who is the most beautiful woman on the face of this planet. It's on a lot of streaming services. I think it's on Neon, Netflix sometimes. But we are talking about a very different movie. But as I promised, we're not going to talk about it immediately. We're going to give it a good 10 minutes. See if people turn up. And I did change my shirt from the thumbnail because it was too hot. It was a jersey. Right. So I forgot lipstick. It just shows so much disrespect for you guys. Who will be the lucky one today? No. Maybe. Maybelline Plum for Me. A plum that is meant to suit every body. Let's see. You can't tell because the lighting's so bad. I like it. I'm not putting heaps on. Just enough so it'll actually show up on screen. But yeah, today we are going to talk Emerald Flannel? Is it pronounced flannel? That doesn't sound right to me. Emerald F's amazing movie, Promising Young Woman, which I've been so waiting to see from the first trailer. And I think a lot of us think that we know this genre and we know this overblown Harley Quinn style sexy feminist revenge, which is often neither sexy nor feminist. But it's good. You go in thinking you know the story and the tropes and all that shit. You don't. You really, really don't. So, I did say we'd talk for 10 minutes before we started, didn't I? Okay. I'll do a Twitter post just to say that we're starting. Where did my tweet go? Oh, there it is. Go. I guess get in. Hope I'm pasting the right link. Oh, I am. How's that for being organized? So, we've got another few minutes to talk nonsense while we make sure everyone who wants to be here is here. Has everyone watching actually seen it? Hey, Alex, how's it going? Tetra, whichever you prefer. But yeah, if you haven't seen the film, I would strongly urge you to see it first. But if you don't want to and you just want to listen to me talk about it, that's fine. If I were a professional YouTuber, I would have, mapped it out, planned what parts I'm going to talk about when, but it's just going to be whatever occurs to me in the moment. As usual, it's more zen, it's more paleo, it's more business excellence to me. So 6.5 minutes in, got 6 people here, pretty good. And I've covered my door with the door curtain. Oh, wow. Okay. I would suggest that you watch a trailer, at least, and hopefully watch a movie, but it's really worth watching without spoilers. And there are going to be tons of spoilers here, because I need to discuss this movie. Taking a Twitter break is probably a really good idea, though. I haven't seen much about it on Twitter, because world events are happening. The fate of the world is happening, basically. I wrote that in a tweet once when I couldn't remember the word for apocalypse or whatever. Yeah, I would love for you to go into it unspoiled, because I think you'd prefer it that way. But come back and watch the video afterwards. That would be cool. I'd like to hear your thoughts about it and everything. Oh, nearly 8 minutes in. Kind of looks like these are the people cool enough. Awesome. Have a great day, Tetra. I will see you in the future. Should the future ever come to pass. Ooh, we're up to 8. That's a good thing. Okay, what we're going to talk about first. First, I think probably. Hey, Thunder Jim. This is a let's talk to discuss a movie that is so much better unspoiled that I put some warnings on it to be like, don't watch this if you haven't seen the movie. It's called Promising Young Woman. It's directed by Emerald Flannel. Maybe Flannel? I don't know. Written and directed by her. That just came out. It's a I hesitate to say rape revenge movie, but I guess it is. Yeah. But if you don't care about spoilers, then absolutely hang out. Hello, Jake McMahon. Jake McMahon, sorry. Yeah. We're nearly 10 minutes in. We can get going. Yeah. If you don't want it spoiled, absolutely do not stay and watch. Because I don't care about my numbers. I just want to make sure that everyone who wants to be here to talk about it is here to talk about it. So, 10 minutes. Promising Young Woman, as an overview, is the story of Cassie. But more than that, it's a ghost story, in my opinion. So a long time ago, wait, do I tell the film chronologically or do I tell the events that happen within the film chronologically? I have not planned this at all. Basically, Cassie is a young ex-medical student who works in a cafe now, and every weekend she goes out to a club or a pub or a bar and pretends that she is so drunk she can't walk. And every weekend, a nice guy like Seth Cohen from the OC or McLovin from whatever movie that was from, Superbad, I remember. Every weekend, some guy comes over, see if she's okay, help her get home, and yeah, that often weirdly ends up being helping to get her to their home. At which point, she acts very, very drunk. And we're going to come back to this concept, but Cassie gives these guys every chance, every possible chance to listen to what she's saying and take her home, right? She keeps saying, I have work in the morning. I don't know where I am. I need to go home. I feel sick. I'm going to throw up. Over and over until the very, very nice guys make it extremely clear what they're going to do, what their intentions are. And then suddenly, that passed out girl that they're filling up is sober and looking them right in the eye and saying, hey, the fuck's going on here? Let's talk. And that's kind of where those scenes cut. We go home to Cassie. She's making a little X in her notebook that's full of numbers and guys' names. Hides that under the bed. And we're kind of left to imagine what happens to the guys. To Seth Cohen anyway at the beginning. And then with McLovin, she just tells him that he's not a nice guy. She thanks him for waking her up before he tries to go there. That was sweet, which is an incredible line. And just warns him to be really careful next time he picks up a woman who's too drunk to look after herself. Later on in the movie, the guy that she picks up was friends with Seth Cohen in the beginning, so we know he's a piece of shit. And they get interrupted before he can actually take her home. He realizes she's sober and goes, oh my god, you're that crazy bitch Seth Cohen went home with. And she's like, do you think that was only one of us? There are lots of girls in this city, and I heard one of them carry scissors. So that's the most violent, I think, the imagery. So, he freaks out. So from this, we're getting a picture of Cassie as a predator. Speaking of predators, it's Naomi. Hey, sweetheart. Girl, come on. Yeah, come on. You did that to make me look foolish. There we go. But yeah, in her daily life, Cassie works in a coffee shop with Laverne Cox, who looks amazing. I want to know all of her beauty secrets immediately, but I can't be bothered finding out. She lives at home with her parents. And and one morning she comes down and she's forgotten that it's her 30th birthday. And her parents have bought her a suitcase. So they want her to move out and get on with her life, but that's not what Cassie's doing. So I'm going to stick with the Cassie as predator thing. Just for the moment. I'm going to focus on that, okay? So by chance, Cassie finds out that the guy who... Okay, hang on. We're going to have to go back a little bit. Cassie had a best friend called Nina from the age of 4 upwards, right? And when they were in med school together, Nina went to a party, got blackout drunk, had something put in her drink, and this student called Al Monroe raped her in front of all of his friends and, unbeknownst to him, a videotape. They complained to the dean. They complained to their friends, saying, hey, I think something bad happened last night. But, we can't jeopardize these young men's future on a he said, she said, right? So that's basically the setup. Nina has passed away some time ago, and Cassie has been doing her Cassie as predator thing. So when she hears that Al Monroe is in town and he's getting married to a bikini model, showing that he's really evolved as a person, she decides, hey, he's having a great life. So glad those accusations didn't go anywhere. No one did anything. So she looks up her best friend from med school, Madison, who is played beautifully by Alison Brie. Madison is a doctor and a mother of triplets or twins or whatever, I forgot. So Cassie meets her in a fancy restaurant. They start drinking. Or Madison does. Cassie's drinking ginger ale, but Madison doesn't know that. They get pretty tipsy, talk about life, and Cassie starts feeling her out about, you ever think about Nina? You ever think about what you would do now if one of your friends came to you saying, I think something bad happened, I need your help? And Madison, being a piece of shit, as they all are, is going on about, we were kids, we were all blackout drunk all the time, who even knows anymore? He said, she said, all that shit. And Cassie just keeps talking like she does with the guys, giving Madison every chance to say, I have changed, I am not the person I was. She doesn't. And Cassie says, I'm very sorry to hear that, and leaves a very, very drunk Madison at this place. And as she leaves, she talks to a guy who tells him Madison's room number, points her out. The guy says, are you sure you want to do this? Next day, Madison's ringing her phone off the hook. The implication, I think we all understand. I don't have to spell that out. So she's given Madison every chance, right? And now Madison's calling her, leaving all these voicemails saying, hey, I think something bad happened yesterday. I don't know. I got really drunk. Cassie's ignoring the calls. Then we're going to come back to that. Okay, that's what we're presented. Then Cassie moves on to the dean, who did not believe these allegations at all. saying that she wants to go back to medical school. But first, she picks up the dean's daughter from school, who was 15, but she's like an Instagram makeup person. Tricks her into thinking her favorite boy band are in town and drops her off at a diner to wait for them. After taking her phone, because, we can't be taking pictures of a boy band music video, So Cassie goes in to meet the dean, brings up Nina Fisher. Dean can't remember. But it's really not fair to it's not fair to assume that these boys are, they're innocent until proven guilty. They've got bright careers in front of them. And sometimes, girls put themselves in dangerous situations, like by drinking too much. And again, Cassie says, is this how you feel now? Is this really how you feel? Giving her every chance again. And then she says, well, that's good. It's good that you have so much faith in these young boys, because I picked your daughter up from school and I dropped her off in the dorm where Nina was the night of the accident. And the dean, played by Vivian Harmon from the first series of American Horror Story, I don't know her name, I'm sorry, freaks the fuck out. So this is her daughter. So it's different. Calls her phone. Cassie's got the phone, So she's freaking all the way out. And Cassie just kind of lets her for a while because she's enjoying it. And she says, no, she's not. She's not there. Because you have so much more faith in these boys than I do. I dropped her off in a diner where she's waiting for her favorite boy band, and you should probably pick her up because she's a total dunce and she will wait there forever. So we find out Cassie as Predator has pretty much been going around making people face their actions and the consequences, but has not actually been harming these people. I mean, she's been doing them quite a lot of emotional harm, but nothing compared to what she and Nina went through. Madison catches up with her. Turns out nothing happened between her and the guy that Cassie paid. She doesn't know Cassie paid him, obviously. Nothing happened. Cassie tells her that. And those days of horror and anxiety were... The emotional harm was absolutely deserved, and she gave them every opportunity, even to say, no, I've changed my mind, I'm so sorry. And none of them did. So Madison's okay, apart from the psychic scarring, and tells Cassie there is a tape of the incident with Nina. So that's Cassie as Predator, right? And then we find out, really, she isn't. She's not actually harming these people. And then we kind of move on to Cassie as a fractured personality. And we move on to Ryan. Oh, how could I forget Ryan? The one guy in it who's genuinely an actual nice guy. The boyfriend. He seems very respectful. He seems visually very perfect for her. She's wearing her nice pink dresses. She's small, blonde. He's tall and blonde. He's wearing his nice blue shirts, and you're like, oh, Ken and Barbie together forever. This is wonderful. Well, I wasn't, because I am a lot more cynical than that. But, we've all seen so many movies where a broken girl is healed by the nice guy's nice dick. That's the power that a nice guy's nice dick can have. It can heal the most broken of manic pixie dream girls. Fortunately, this movie doesn't do what you expect. But Cassie kind of buys into it too, just a little bit. And that's when I want to move the conversation over to Cassie as victim. Well, as survivor, really. There's a little bit of dialogue as Cassie's putting her secret revenge notebook and stuff back under her bed. You can see her head. She's wearing like little Britney Spears plaits, and you get some dialogue saying, you know, hey, you're so pretty. Oh, Josh, no, get out of here and watch the movie, because you have to watch the movie first. It's extremely good without spoilers. Or stay. It's really up to you. I'm not kicking you out. But yeah, you get this throwaway dialogue of a man and a girl in a bar going, have a drink, and she's, oh, I don't know about that. He's like, no, I'm bartender, get the lady a drink. She's like, oh, and he's like, are you even old enough to be in here in a bar? And the movie kind of leaves that, and then you think, hang on, that's not. Oh, I totally recommend it. Yeah. Come and join in later. Well, watch the video later, I guess. You won't regret it. So this voiceover thing, it's not one of Cassie's weekends, because she's 30. Like, she turns 30 in the movie. No one's asking her if she's old enough to drink. And then you think, right, that's a memory of Cassie's, from a time when she was young, looked old enough to get into a bar, but definitely was not old enough to be in a bar. And then a lot of the costuming makes sense. The way that Cassie's she dresses in a very sweet way. She's into the floral dresses, the cute cartoon character t-shirt, the best friend necklace, obviously. And when we see her wearing clothes that are sort of business casual, it's a costume. It's a costume for when she goes out to catch Madison, a costume for when she goes out to catch the Dean. Those aren't her clothes, Her clothes are childlike, they're protective, Which is why I don't think it's a coincidence that Ryan, the shitty boyfriend, is a pediatric surgeon. He's a guy who fixes children. I think also probably it's why Cassie wasn't at the party with Nina. Don't know if that was part of it. I've been discussing this with a friend on Twitter, and I haven't had her okay to mention her during this video. I didn't ask. I forgot. But she also pointed out that Cassie's makeup, when she goes out to be the femme fatale, it's not well done. Like, she does not have Instagram makeup on or anything. We see her watching YouTube tutorials. She never learned how to do the proper smoky eye or anything. Which of course doesn't matter because she's being a drunk person, but it's that heavy black eyeliner that goes all the way around like a big circle. So yeah, so there are the Britney plaits, and at the end, of course, her outfit is really reminiscent of the cover of that Bloodhound Gang album that came out when I was like 13. I think it was very formative on the minds of many young people at the time. Yeah, she does the YouTube tutorial, then smears it, which I love that scene. But yeah, her makeup is just not good, basically. It's like a teenager trying to do makeup. And of course, living with her parents. I mean, I was living with my parents when I was 30 as well. No, I wasn't. I was living here, but only just. Um, yeah, I think the theory that uh, Cassie is also a survivor and from a young age is really, really valid, especially when you look at her body language. Um, when Ryan starts getting a little bit close and her fatalistic attitude to, yeah, let's go up to your place. Yeah, no, fine. No, let's get it over with. It's fine. And especially her body language with the lawyer when he's acting a bit aggressively. It's something that you wouldn't notice unless you knew what you were looking at, kind of thing. So we move on from Cassie as survivor. We move on from Cassie as predator. She turns out to actually be Cassie as, I don't know, lesson giver, J. Walter Weatherman. And that's why you always take a girl home to her own house and don't touch her when she's blackout. So we move on from those to Cassie the Ghost. I truly believe that Promising Young Woman is a ghost story. Um, we're going to get into some serious spoiler territory here, so I'm going to type it in the chat. Serious spoilers ahead. And I'm going to ask for questions and stuff about anything we've talked about so far. Questions or comments or whatever. And if you guys don't have any, then we'll just kind of forge ahead to my ghost story theory. I don't mean the literal ghost, right? I mean that. Oh, actually, got something else to talk about before we go to this serious spoilers. I'm more excited about it. This is the only rape revenge movie I've ever seen that doesn't show the assault. You don't see it. You see Cassie reacting to seeing the tape. You see Ryan reacting to seeing the tape. You hear a little bit of the tape, but you do not see it. And at no point do you ever see a naked woman crying in the shower, which also seems to be a trope of an obligatory part of any rape revenge movie. I mean, we've just seen this poor woman sexually assaulted, and now we get to see her break down emotionally, also naked, in the shower. Some people might love that. I have always found it really, really, really disgusting. So yeah, that was really good. I can't get over how much I admire that and how it really doesn't harm a movie to just leave that shit out. I mean, Cassie herself, she uses her body to catch a predator, you know, but we are never complicit in that, right? Cassie to us is a person, and she always remains a person. We don't need that gross voyeuristic objectification or whatever. I don't know all the proper words for it, but you know what I mean. Yeah, that trope is extremely gross. And I thought it was obligatory. But apparently you can do one without it. Pretty good. Yeah. And now that I've given a little bit of space for serious spoilers, we can move on to the end. So naturally, Cassie finds out via watching the tape that Ryan, her shitty, shitty boyfriend was at that party. He saw what was going on, said it was fucked up, don't get me on camera, and did nothing. Yeah, active trauma porn, basically. It's disgusting. It's like, oh, this poor woman. She's so, I mean, her lithe, supple young body is just very traumatized. Let's look at it. Ridiculous. So yeah, she finds out Ryan was there, and that's the end for Cassie, basically. She has been a ghost for a long time. If you think about vengeful ghost movies, Cassie has basically been Nina Fisher's ghost this whole time. I mean, she's a ghost getting revenge who happens to still be an alive human being. So, by day she works in the coffee shop. On the weekends, she does her ghost activities because she's dead and getting revenge on those who wronged her in life. She behaves like a person who is not suicidal, but is dead already in their mind, in their, when nothing matters because you are already gone. I don't think that Cassie was suicidal. I think she was very glad that her plan worked out, if that makes sense. I think when she was with Ryan, there was a little glimmer of, hey, maybe I can let this go. Maybe I can live my life. Yeah, she needs to pay bills, so she works in the coffee shop. Ryan makes her think, hey, maybe I can be alive. Maybe I can bear that. No. The feeling of being dead already explains, well, it doesn't explain, but it it informs that scene really early on where the construction guys are hooting and catcalling and going, oh, walk of shame. Oh, she just stands still and looks at them and doesn't say anything for ages, which was a hugely powerful scene, and I absolutely loved it until they, got defensive and told her to go fuck herself, and then got really quiet and then just kind of slunk away. Which they do. But yeah. Yeah, Cassie's been dead for a long time. So, here we are. The denouement, if you will. Cassie finds out the location of Al Monroe's bachelor party. And it's worth talking about Joe, Al's friend, who is the absolute shittiest person in this entire movie and isn't really focused on. But we'll keep that sort of in the back pocket. Cassie as Ghost. When you think about everything that could have gone wrong at that bachelor party, middle of nowhere, no one knows where she is, a woman alone, for all they know, the stripper. I think she would have been incredibly disappointed to come out of that alive. So she shows up, drugs all the party guests, gets the groom upstairs, and handcuffs him to the bed. Yeah, all the while, saying, everything's fine. I'm not going to do anything you don't want me to do. And the handcuffs, they're for my protection because sometimes guys get a little bit grabby. So once he's basically immobile, he asks her real name, and she says Nina Fisher. And that's when it kind of turns for Al. He's like, wait, what? And the first thing he says is, did Joe put you up to this? This is dark even for him. Yeah, it is. It's in keeping with the previous MO, yeah. If she survived, it would be proof that some people had changed. Yeah. Giving them every chance. The fact that Al leaps directly to Joe, that he thinks that Joe would hire a stripper to tell him her name was Nina Fisher. That says a lot about Joe. And about the guy who kept him around as his best friend. So it becomes obvious that she's not a stripper, you know. But at that moment, you know, she's just telling the truth at that moment. She is Nina Fisher. She's the ghost of Nina Fisher, and she has been for a long time. And then comes another turn as Al gets loose. There's a fight, and it takes a very long time to suffocate a person with a pillow. And we see that whole time, right? You're thinking, she'll get out of it somehow. Well, you might be. I really wasn't. You know, she'll get out of it somehow because this is a rape revenge movie, and she's the final girl, and they can go through so much trauma, and just pop back up like the slasher villains that form them, you know. So as we watch Cassie die, or as we watch Cassie's body keep up with her mind, if you like, she does fight very hard. Because, you know, you may kind of want to die, but you don't necessarily want Al fucking Monroe to be the one to do it. Ew. So, again, he has so many chances over this long, long sequence to stop murdering a woman. Obviously, he could completely overpower her. He had a lot of chances to not do what he did. And the camera moves in, it moves in, it moves in, until him and his trauma is all that we see. He's so scarred from having to do that. It's ridiculous. That poor man. This was when he kind of slumps back. He's still tied to the bed, and Cassie's body is beside him, with the pillow still over her face. She's not undressed in any way. You don't see her face, because that's the other thing that these movies love to do, is to they love showing us the dead body of a beautiful woman. That's almost as sexy as the alive body of a viciously traumatized crying one. It's nearly as good. But this movie doesn't, right? It still treats Cassie as a person deserving of respect, right? And we see Al, and he's just traumatized from what happened last night. That poor man. And Joe comes in, and he's laughing at first because he thinks it's a bit, and then he's freaked out. And then, no questions asked, he leaps up and just hugs his friend and says, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault, bro. You're going to be okay." So we're seeing the friend comforting the person who's been assaulted, telling them it's not their fault. But we see it in a context that's quite different. And Very untrue. And all we see of Cassie is we see her feet, her poor stocking feet that had walked up there in the mud, and we see the underside of her arm where lividity's already gathered by morning. Yeah, you did nothing wrong. Exactly. Except this time it's a total lie. I laughed out loud when I saw that because I could not believe they'd done that. I was so happy that they had done something so unexpected. Yeah, fundamentally untrue. Of course he did something wrong. There's a dead person there. But anyway, and we don't see Cassie's face. We see Joe lift the pillow where there are makeup stains on it and drop it because he's horrified. So her body isn't fetishized by the camera, you know. Next thing we know, they're burning her on a fire. And again, we don't see Cassie. We see that arm escape. Well, not escape, but, you know, flop out of the fire. She's absolutely dead. And Joe kicks it back in just casually while this sets off Al again. Yeah, we never see Cassie's body in the way that the movies love to show a dead woman's body, you know? And then it turns out that yeah, she was pretty prepared for that. I'll go back just for a second to Cassie as Predator. Oh no, that was not a good enough fire to burn a body. Absolutely not. But I think it was I think they just charred her pretty badly and then buried her in mud based on. But if we go back, Cassie as Predator, she also shows up to the home of a lawyer. And he is freaked out. He hasn't slept in a while. His office thinks he's had a psychotic break. He's actually just had an epiphany that what he was doing, getting rapists off, was actually not cool. So Cassie goes in there ready to be the avenging angel, the ghost, and asks if he remembers Nina Fisher, and he says yes. Yeah, of course he does. He's the one person she gives a chance to who takes that chance, who deserves it. Yes, he feels terrible about what he's done. He'll never forgive himself. He can't sleep. He's so sorry. He knows how incredibly evil his actions were. So this affects her pretty strongly. She's very emotional about it, and tells him she forgives him and that he can sleep, which was nice. And yeah, he had a chance. He took it. Nothing bad happened to him. Well, apart from the hell that he was already living in. Yeah, he takes the chance and he doesn't expect forgiveness for it. Yeah. Yeah. He expects to be hurt pretty badly and wants to be. So, we cut to some detectives looking into Cassie's disappearance because her parents are like, damn, where'd our daughter go? That's crazy. You know, shouldn't tell anyone where she was going. And when they go to question Ryan, good old nice guy ally Ryan, he, in his usual cowardly way, just takes the way out of it. The detective says, did she seem depressed? He's like, oh, yeah, definitely. No, I don't know where she went. Nope. Despite the fact he knows damn well where she went, and if she's disappeared, yeah, he knows. He thinks everything's going to be fine now. denying her parents' closure and denying her murderers justice, all of that stuff. He doesn't give a shit as long as his life carries on. Yeah, it's Ryan's defining trait. As soon as she tells him, "You're on this tape," here, he's like, "Please don't tell. Don't ruin my career. Don't tell people." He never once says sorry. Or he might. I'm not sure. Um, so now we have Cassie as Happy Ghost, really. Because at Al Monroe's wedding, after he calls his beautiful bride his soulmate and his moral compass, imagine being the bride and hearing that. Wow. We see a big envelope being sent to the lawyer in the event of my disappearance. We see police dogs finding Cassie's best friend necklace with Nina on it and her body, you know, all of that. And we hear police coming to the wedding. Joe, just hearing the sirens, books it into the swamp because he is a piece of shit. Ryan is getting a scheduled text from Cassie. What? Saying, "Did you think it was over? Well, it is now. Enjoy the wedding." Meaning, this is an incredible dunk on Ryan because she knew before she went that if something bad happened to her at that bachelor party, her boyfriend, the guy who said he was in love with her, would not tell the cops anything and would still go to the wedding of the guy who probably killed her. And that is just such a hard diss. I don't know if Ryan lives with himself after that. I mean, he probably does. But yeah, her last texts, love from Cassie and Nina, her last texts are joyful because she can move on. You know, if she's been a vengeful ghost this whole time, which she has, she's completed her business on Earth and can move on with Nina, which is, yeah, kind of a lovely ending, you know. It was a gut punch of an ending, but it was joyful, you know. So yeah, those are my main thoughts about Promising Young Woman. Cassie as predator, Cassie as assault survivor, Cassie as ghost, basically, and Cassie as empty shell walking around, kind of doing her thing. And it's not a coincidence at all that Cassie and Ryan have that beautiful romantic moment dancing to "The Stars Are Blind" by Paris Hilton, a woman who was widely reviled for making a consensual sex tape. I mean, the leaking wasn't consensual, but she had sex with her boyfriend and recorded it, and the world dragged her for it. So the videotape, that kind of thing, and the stars are blind. Cassie's blinding herself to Ryan's shitty qualities. But yeah, and those are my thoughts on Promising Young Woman. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you have any thoughts and questions and whatever, we can talk about them now, or since I've been going for about an hour, I can jump off and stream some video games. But yeah, it was a hard movie to watch in places. for obvious reasons. But it was a very satisfying movie to watch, also for obvious reasons. So, if you also want to see the movie that the trailer seemed that this would be, you can watch American Mary with Catherine Isabel. Very similar. Gets into the body mod community as well. Yeah, the black and red tally marks. That is interesting. And I guess I got to do another rewatch. Yeah, the only thing she threatened to do to Al was to write Nina's name on him in, scars forever. So he would remember what he'd done and that it was a bad thing. She didn't threaten him with exposure. She wasn't going to destroy his career and blow up his marriage and everything. She just wanted him to remember Nina and what he had done. Also, Nina's death, because she is dead, is never actually described as a suicide. We never hear what happened to her, how she did it, because it's not suicide porn either. Nina is a person, and the movie is respectful of her, which again I really liked. But yeah, thanks for joining me for a wee discussion. I had so many thoughts straight after I watched it. I wanted to talk to anyone and everyone about it. And I was lucky enough to discuss it with a friend on Twitter for a while. And we just blew each other's minds constantly. Then I thought I really want to do a YouTube video about this while it's fresh in my mind. So yeah, that was the other thing, the nail polish. Where I said about Cassie dressing in a kind of childlike manner. Her nails are always painted like these pastel candy colors, and they're different on every finger, which, I mean, to me, obviously represents the different fractured elements of her psyche, like the vengeful ghost and the survivor and the young girl, the femme fatale, the kamikaze pilot, Yeah. I saw it as a ghost story where the ghost just was inconveniently alive for most of it. So her death wasn't a sad thing. It was a ghost completing their business and moving on. Oh yeah, it was great without it. I just see everything as ghosts all the time. Hey Josh, if you've seen the movie, awesome. If you haven't, then boo, I guess. Come back and watch it. I'm about to wrap up the video anyway. What was I saying? Oh, the candy pink nail polish, right? All the different colours. So it was like that, representing that her personality was so fractured at this point. There was no real adult person called Cassie. There was only these slivers of a person and these disguises that she wore. Oh, totally. Go watch it. Please do. And let me know what you think. But also, it reminded me of when you're really young, when you're like 10 or 11, and you and your best friend get a set of like crappy nail polishes for your birthday or whatever, and you can't decide what color you want to do first, so you just end up doing one for each finger a different color. It was like that. It was a very young girl sort of look. And I loved it. Also, Carey Mulligan is amazing, and if I didn't already have bangs, I would absolutely have cut bangs after watching that movie. 5 stars. thank you very much for discussing this movie with me. Thank you for listening to my unstructured, incoherent thoughts about this movie. Thank you for being a friend and traveling down the road and to a certain extent back again with me in such a way. Thank you, Danny. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I will probably be streaming most of the day just in case someone shows up and wants to ramble at me again. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Hope you enjoyed it. Watch the movie.